The world is as you are. That's what we're talking about today, boys. Because man, it's kind of like a paradox when you realize that what you see is kind of what you're choosing to see in a way, like your perspective. Like if you're someone who's kind of wrapped up in negativity, or if you're someone who focuses on, like, here's an example: if you're focused on like materialistic items, right? You'll start to notice it more. Like here's the thing, right? Like if you drive a red Honda, right, you'll definitely see more red Hondas. Is that because more red Hondas are spawning in, or is it just because you're aware of it, right? So when you're aware of it, you start seeing it more. You start seeing it more in every aspect of life. You might see a little Hot Wheel that's the same car as yours. But the message of that is you're aware of it. You put it in your head. You're focused on it. So our mind tries to make what we believe come true regardless. So if you feel like people are out to get you, man, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll end up meeting people who, or interpreting people's actions as against you, when there's a completely valid perspective of the complete opposite if you choose to see that across the board, man, with every topic. It's as you are, man. So if you choose to see things humbly and with love, and I know that might be cheesy because I feel like we're sometimes preconditioned to believe deeper things are cheesy, but I think that's kind of a psyop, bro. They don't want us feeling things. And man, it's really, at the end of the day, it's you have the power. Like, you are the creator here, in a sense. It's because of what you focus on, man. If you think all women just care about money and materialistic items, you'll notice that way more. You're probably peeking your head into parts of the internet or parts of life where that will always tend out to be true. And you know what's interesting about the internet, man? It's like the algorithm, right? The algorithm literally just gives you whatever you're focused on. Anyway, like if you're mad into Skyrim lore, guess what? You're going to see a bunch of Skyrim no matter what social media website you go on. Because it knows, bro. It's either hearing you. I mean, I remember reading a study before where it was like, it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't put it past them. They're making, once they tapped into the radio waves and now we can communicate through Wi-Fi, bro, all inventions are on the board now. So I remember reading a thing where I guess it can like read your mind in a way. It sounds crazy. But how many times have you thought of a thing like, oh, I need to pick up, I'm kind of feeling a Diet Coke or whatever, and then you get an ad for it, right? Or maybe you're thinking of, I don't know, I wonder how much plane tickets are right now. And then you get an ad for it. Have you guys ever seen that? I've definitely seen that before. I wish I could think of the specific example because I remember there being a moment when I was driving home and then I did get an ad. I'm like, that's crazy. I didn't even say that. I just thought that. So that's crazy. So that's another aspect of, especially in this day and age, man, like who you are is what you see, and this world is as you are. Your experience is what you choose it to be. Maybe your starting zone, maybe where you spawned in or whatever zone you're in, maybe we're a little powerless over that, at least at the start, right? Like, in Dark Souls, when you're spawning in, like in the very beginning of the game, like when you make your character, you spawn into like a jail cell, and then you get to choose where to go, then you get to choose what to level up, and regardless of what you level up, we all fight the same boss battles. I honestly feel like Dark Souls has like, there's a way of looking at it where it really represents life in a way, man. We're all lost here, and every now and again we might get a little note on the ground, a little tip, hype. Sometimes we get a little tip that's a lie. That's also out here. You know what I mean? One of these days I want to go down the hole of, I think you could look at Dark Souls like really deep, bro. I do think so, though. But man, I just wanted to say, that really, man, this world is what you choose it to be, because it's all in your head. At the end of the day, everything you're experiencing is funneling through your reality tunnel into your brain, bro. Across the board. It's what you want your mental to be. And want's a weird thing, right? Because sometimes we can get tricked by things. Sometimes we want to take a break from maybe thinking about life, or, sometimes we want to experience other things. But you start to realize, like, oh man, why am I not feeling good? It's probably because you're doing some things that you're not meant to be doing, bro. Like, video games are cool, but I don't think we should be playing video games all day. I don't think we should be playing video games all day. Unless that's like your favorite thing right now and it doesn't make you, if it makes you enjoy life more, definitely do it. That's all that matters, bro. Do I make sense? It's what you choose. What you choose to see is what you will see, bro. What you'll see in others is what you see in yourself. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for sure, man. A lot of projection out there. Like, if you see someone do an action, sometimes people will automatically assume what they're doing is, wrong or selfish or cringe or gross, whatever negativity, because you're putting yourself in that situation. What would make me get to that? Or maybe you're not even thinking that far, because I think sometimes that's the answer. It's like, what would it take me to act that way? And if you can understand that, I feel like you can understand them, bro. You can be like, yo, what would actually make me want to dress up in rave gear and, argue on Twitter? It's like, well, I probably have to be, escapism, wanting to take some substances and dance to not that great of music. And also, if I want to be arguing on social media, being negative, it's probably because I'm tricked, bro. Probably because I bought into the propaganda that's being fed to us. And that's a big thing, man. You got to start questioning things. You got to start questioning everything, bro. You got to wake up from being an NPC. You got to question across the board, literally everything. Why is this? Why is this being advertised? Why is this being promoted on the news? Why, of all the things happening in the world, is this the biggest news story and this one isn't? And try to find a reason where that makes sense, man. You'll see that they're choosing what to feed you because they know that what you are is what this world will be. So they're trying to shape you into who they want you to be, bro. And that might sound like a freaky thing, because it is. But dude, what they want from you is to be complacent, to be scared, and to buy, and to spend your money, to not feel like you can break out of this. They want to keep you in the cage, and you don't even realize that there's, fake plants in the cage when there's real plants outside the cage. But they don't want you sniffing the flowers, you know what I mean? They don't. And when I say they, it's like, dude, it's the people running everything. You ever question, like, who's actually running everything? Like, across the board, who gets to decide what materials come here, how it gets sold, how it gets packaged? And in a way, it kind of feels like we don't have a say, right? Because it's like, dude, who all decided that we should be making all this plastic stuff that won't biodegrade? I don't think we chose that. They just chose that and threw it onto us because it's convenient. But we kind of do have a say. But the sad part is we need, like, everyone to be on board. And there's just, the harsh truth is there's some people out there who potentially just won't ever wake up in this lifetime, bro. They're new. They just spawned in. They aren't doing a level 1 run through Dark Souls. They haven't been here before. This is their first time through. And they haven't even watched a tutorial, bro. And half the tutorials they've been watching aren't even related to the game they're playing. But man, that's true. But I think collectively, if a lot of us can kind of start pushing the right messages, and rights, obviously, you can argue right and wrong, but like a positive message, like an unbiased truth of what's going on. Waking up, I guess, would be the easiest term that we all understand, right? But yeah, man, I just want to talk about that, man. This world, and if this makes sense, hopefully I can word it in a way right now I can dial it in, where it's like, bro, what you think, because this world, everything, just imagine, literally everything, every experience, you're looking at a TV screen through your eyes, in a sense, and it's all going through you. No one is you. No one has experienced you, bro. And on one hand, you can look at that like very lonely, right? Because no one will fully understand you, bro. But you don't need that. Because if you understand you, bro, it'll feel like everyone does. Because that's you looking at it, bro. If you understand you, and you know in your heart that you have no negative ill will towards anything besides maybe standing up to tyranny, bro. Take a little JC from the New Test. Dude, he was on to some stuff. You stand up to tyranny. Because there's some people who just will follow through with that, man. And we got to watch out for those people, because those people are us, bro. We're all the same down here. And I say down here as in like the hierarchy of the pyramid scheme of the modern day. But I guess it's been around ever since we kind of started civilizing stuff, I suppose. So we've been corrupt for a long time. Definitely been corrupt for a long time. But it's like, bro, it's because this world rewards like narcissists and selfish people, bro. And the only way you combat that is not participate and to go against the grain and be like, bro, you guys want us to fight? The last thing I'm going to do is fight, bro. The first thing I'm going to do is make fun of you for trying to make us fight. That's crazy. But yeah, man. If I made sense, I'll say it one more time. Everything you've ever experienced is funneled through you. Everything that you project on this world is a reflection of you and what you choose to see. And sometimes, sometimes we can fall into like a dark place in a way. And in a sense, that is our fault. It is. Sometimes you kind of just got to hang out there for a little bit. But it's the contrast, right? Sometimes you got to go there. You know how in Dark Souls, again with Dark Souls, but you know how in Dark Souls there's always like a swamp zone that no one likes? But it's good that it's there, because then you appreciate the other zones better. If that makes sense, if you understand what I'm saying. It's the contrast. So we need it regardless. Even though it was our fault of going into the catacombs for a bit of our mind. It was meant to happen, bro. Those are where the awakenings happen. That's where the leveling up happens. You got to go into that PvP arena in your brain and level up, bro. And then you come back out. You come back out to the surface with new loot. Yo, where'd you get that? Where'd you get those shoulder pads, bro? That's what it's all about. So, just remember that what you choose to see is what this world will be. I know it's complicated, and maybe it doesn't fully make sense right now. But just try to expand your mind, bro. Because the only thing to combat hatred and negativity, bro, is understanding. Because how can you hate a thing you understand? You'll get to a point where you're like, bro, I see how we got there. That makes sense. How are you going to get mad at something that makes sense? It's when things don't. How do you compute? How do you compute that they're taking kids and, funneling them through, through like tunnels and stuff? How do you comprehend that? And that makes sense why we all hate that, because that is hard to understand. Until you start getting really, really deep, and still even understanding that's like, dang, bro, that's crazy. So that's like one of those instances where It'll always be a little hard. But for the little things, bro, for the little things, like understanding why this person's in a bad mood, it's honestly great that like everyone's not in a bad mood all the time. That alone is a blessing, bro. That alone is a blessing. Because it is crazy here, man. It is crazy here. We're playing this game. And no one's against you if you aren't against yourself, bro. You'll be bulletproof if you understand who you are on a deep, fundamental level, bro, and then keep pushing forward. Keep gaining that XP, level up. You know what I mean? But yeah. Hopefully you get what I mean, bro. But thanks for listening. Make sure to do something for yourself today. Make sure to do something for someone else today. Regardless, boys, we got this, bro. Choose to got this. Choose to get this, man. We got this, bro. It'll all work out. Take care.